I'm going to continue reading the book that we started in our phone call. And hopefully, at a time today when you guys are recuperating, you can listen. The book is called Sister Anne's Hands, written by Mary Beth Lorbiecki, illustrated by K. Wendy Pop. And they're beautiful, beautiful illustrations. And I'll go back quickly over what we already read. We always like looking at the very front inside covers, and this is like a classroom blackboard learning to write in script. And here's another beautiful painting, drawing, lunchbox and briefcase. And here's the front cover, the front page. The summer I turned 7, flowers had power, peace signs were in, and we watched the Ed Sullivan Show every night. That's the summer word went around that a new teacher had come to town. One night after we'd been put to bed, Mom said in a whisper, "She'll be Anna's teacher." And Dad replied, "I don't know how a woman of her color is going to survive." Of her color, I wondered, what color could she be? Purple, green, orange? That night my dreams were full of teachers as colorful as birds. Finally, the day came when I walked down the hall to my new room and I saw her. She had on a black dress and veil like all the other nuns, but her skin was darker than any person I'd ever known. "And who are you, child?" she said, with sparkles in her voice. Don't know why it's doing that. Let me turn it off so there's no more of this beeping. Just a moment, I'm turning it off. Whoops. There we go. Don't know why it's taking so long to do anything on the computer right now. Or get this screen back. Everything's frozen, probably even. Okay, maybe you were there the whole time, but I couldn't get the screen back. But at least the beeping should stop. Finally, oh, I read that part. "And who are you, child?" she said with sparkles in her voice. "Anna Zabrocki." "Zabrocki," I answered, seeing she had a space between her teeth just like me. "Mighty fine freckles you have," she said, smiling widely. "Anyone kissed by angels as much as you must have wings sprouting for sure." Well, let me tell you, no one had ever connected me with angels before. I was the one they sent to the hall for talking in class or to the principal for mouthing off. When she reached out to touch my cheek, I dodged her hands as if it were hot. Her hand. It was puppy brown with white lacy moons for nails. And palm side up, it was pink with dark lines. A light, pretty pink like an evening dress for Barbie. I tried not to stare. She didn't seem to notice. "Welcome to the 2nd grade. I'm Sister Anne." That day, to start class, Sister Ann had us tell some of our very best jokes, even the nun ones, like, "What's black and white and black and white and black and white?" A nun rolling down the stairs. And when she read to us at story time, she did all the voices, low or high or grunting. She sounds like a good teacher. Then she had us counting the buttons on our clothes, pencils in our desks, and teeth in our heads. After all that adding and subtracting, we ended up toothless, pencil rich, and with buttons on our underwear. I'd never had so much fun at school. These drawings are so good. And so is that teacher. I hope you have a good second grade teacher one day. But after lunch, a paper airplane sailed past Sister's head and hit the blackboard. Whoosh! There was a note written on the wings. Sister Ann read it out loud. "Roses are red, violets are blue. Don't let Sister Ann get any black on you." A few giggles rippled across the room. Sister's face froze like a tongue on an icy post. Just trying a little too hard with the metaphors here. That's my own editorial opinion. But I still like this book a lot. "This is funny?" she asked us softly. We didn't say a thing. I felt as giftly as if I'd made the airplane. "I'll need some quiet time to think about this, if you know what I mean." We did. You could have heard a butterfly sigh for the rest of that day. We went home with plenty on our minds. That night in my bed, all I could see was Sister Ann's hand as she reached out to me. The next morning, we all slunk into the classroom and we were shocked at what we saw. Sister Ann had plastered the room with pictures of black people, poor or dying, some hanging from trees, others shot and bleeding. We saw signs over water fountains saying "whites only," and people marching with posters, "Go back to Africa." We saw signs. Oh, I read that. Sorry. None of us knew what to say. "These are the colors of hatred," Sister Ann said. "Do you know how they feel? In some places, if you had to go to the bathroom and the only toilet not being used was the one for colored people, you'd have to hold it or go behind a tree." That had us squirming in our seats. Then she seemed to warm up to us a little. "One thing you're going to learn is that some folks have their hearts wide open, and others are tight as a fist. The tighter they are, the more dangerous. For me, I'd rather open my door enough to let everyone in than risk slamming it shut on God's big toe." That's a heck of a good quote. All of a sudden, I could see this big toenail hanging out of the clouds, and I wanted to laugh. It was clear Sister Ann was giving us another chance. Now, she said, I was sent here to teach, and that's what I'm going to do. And she did. Some kids were pulled from her class by their parents, but we didn't miss them much. She took us to the library to visit islands in the ocean and countries across the sea. She taught us about people we'd never heard before, like Phyllis Wheatley, Matthew Henson, and Sojourner Truth. There was this minister she liked too, Dr. Martin Luther King, who was sometimes on the television news. She said he was trying to help people of all different colors get along. The year zoomed past so fast I could hardly believe it. On the last day of school, Sister Ann gave us the bad news. She wouldn't be coming back. She had been transferred to a school in Chicago. When it came time to say goodbye, I stuck around till everyone else had gone. Then I pulled out a card I'd made for her. Inside were two hands, one white with little orange polka dots, and the other filled with browns and pinks and whites. Sister Ann just stared at the card for a long time. She didn't say anything, but her eyes got kind of watery. Finally, she smiled and touched my face. Looks my like Looks like my little Anna angel is learning how to use her wings. I never heard what happened to Sister Ann after she left for Chicago, but I do know what happened to me. Now, whenever I draw someone's hands or big toes, I fill them in with browns and pinks and whites, reds and yellows and blues, polka dots, circles, and stripes. The end. Oh, except for this picture, too. Okie dokie. That was Sister Ann's hands. I love you, sweetie pie. Both sweetie pies. I hope you feel better soon.